What you are about to hear is going to completely change the way you look at what is happening on the road to WrestleMania 42, and I need you to stay with me until the very end, because what went down backstage after the cameras stopped rolling is something that the mainstream wrestling media is not talking about, and it might be the most important thing that has happened in professional wrestling this entire year. 2 weeks ago, Omos stood over Brock Lesnar with his foot planted firmly on the chest of the most dangerous man on the planet, pointing directly at the WrestleMania 42 sign like he owned the moment, like he owned the building, like he owned the beast himself. Last week, security could not contain it. Fines did not slow it down. Triple H himself could not put a lid on it. And this week, what was supposed to be a routine contract signing for the biggest match of the year did not just fall apart at the seams. It erupted into an all-out war zone that left the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, in a state of complete and utter chaos. And then, when the broadcast cut and the cameras were supposed to stop rolling, Brock Lesnar did something that I genuinely never saw coming in all my years of watching this business. And I promise you, it changes everything heading into Las Vegas. Monday Night Raw was already delivering one of the most intense and emotionally charged episodes of the entire year before we even got to the main event. The Toyota Center was absolutely buzzing after CM Punk walked down to that ring and dropped a pipe bomb on Roman Reigns that had the entire building on its feet and social media melting down in real time. But the main event, the segment that was supposed to be nothing more than a formality, was a contract signing designed to make Omos versus Brock Lesnar officially sanctioned for WrestleMania 42. Adam Pearce was out there. Triple H was standing in that ring to personally oversee the proceedings. Paul Heyman was doing what Paul Heyman always does, commanding attention and introducing the beast to the world one more time. And then the music hit, and Omos walked out through that curtain, and the moment that 7'3", 400-pound Nigerian giant stepped through those ropes and into that ring, the tension inside the Toyota Center became something you could physically feel. You could see it on the faces of the officials. You could see it in the body language of everyone standing at that table. And what happened next was not a contract signing. It was a detonation. Here is what has been consuming my thoughts ever since that broadcast ended. Brock Lesnar did not wait for Omos to settle into his corner. He did not wait for the pleasantries. He did not wait for the pens to come out or for anyone to say a single word. The very moment Omos attempted to enter that ring, Lesnar launched himself across the canvas like a missile, throwing his entire body at the former NXT champion with everything he had. But Omos, without even flinching, caught him midair and drove Lesnar's spine first into the LED ring post with the kind of force that should have ended the confrontation right then and there. The sound that echoed through that building was sickening, and the crowd went absolutely silent for a split second before erupting into chaos. But the beast kept coming, because that is what Brock Lesnar does. Security poured into that ring, dozens of personnel flooding in from every direction, and they could not do a single thing to separate these two men. They were completely powerless, like paper caught in a hurricane, being swatted aside as Lesnar and Omos broke free from every attempted restraint and began hurling office chairs across the ring at each other. The table was obliterated. The contract never got signed. And just as the show was going off the air, something else unfolded that the television broadcast did not capture, but the cameras backstage kept rolling, and what that footage showed sent a cold chill straight down my spine. The footage is raw and grainy, but the violence in it is completely unmistakable. After the broadcast cut to black, the brawl did not stop. It spilled into the backstage area with thousands of fans still inside the Toyota Center chanting, "Let them fight" at the top of their lungs, while officials scrambled desperately to restore any semblance of order. Triple H personally told Lesnar it was over and ordered him to leave the building. The beast obeyed, but not before he grabbed a set of steel ring steps and hurled them with terrifying force directly into the ring, nearly striking a security guard in the process. Omos, still seething and still operating at a level of rage that was almost uncomfortable to watch, grabbed those same steel steps and launched them right back at Lesnar as he retreated. But here is the single moment that I cannot stop replaying in my mind, The moment that I think tells us everything we need to know about where this rivalry is heading and what WrestleMania 42 is truly going to look like. After Lesnar finally exited the arena, Omos was still standing in that ring, still breathing fire, still vibrating with a level of fury that had nowhere left to go. And in that moment, he grabbed a nearby security guard out of pure, unbridled frustration, hoisted him into the air, and drove him into the canvas with the fall from grace powerbomb. He powerbombed a security guard. Let that sink in for a moment. That is not just rage. That is something far more unsettling than rage. That is what a man looks like when he has been pushed so far past his breaking point that the line between competition and something much darker has completely disappeared. That is a man who has decided, consciously or not, that the only way to end this war with Brock Lesnar is to burn every single thing in his path straight to the ground. I keep coming back to the psychology of this entire situation because there is so much more happening beneath the surface than what we see in those highlight clips. Brock Lesnar has been doing this for over 2 decades. He has stood across the ring from The Undertaker. He has gone to war with John Cena. He has dismantled Roman Reigns. He has conquered every mountain this industry has ever put in front of him, and in all of that time, across all of those legendary rivalries, he has never been humiliated the way Omos has humiliated him. Omos has stood over him twice now. He has thrown him out of the ring like he was nothing. He has made the most dominant force in the history of this business look genuinely vulnerable, and that is something that does not sit well with a man like Brock Lesnar. That is something that festers. And now, in the final weeks before the grandest stage of them all, Lesnar is fighting with the frantic, desperate, explosive energy of a cornered animal that has absolutely nothing left to lose. There are reports circulating that Lesnar has made it known internally that he is only back for a limited time, that his career is winding down toward what could be a final chapter at SummerSlam in his hometown of Minneapolis. If that is true, if this really is the final act of the most dominant career in sports entertainment history, then WrestleMania 42 is not just another match for Brock Lesnar. It is his last real opportunity to stand in front of the world and prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that the Beast is still the most dangerous man alive, that the years have not dulled him, that no 7-foot giant from Nigeria is going to be the man who closes the book on his legacy. And then there is Omos, who at just 27 years old is already operating on a level that nobody in this industry predicted when he first laced up his boots. A former University of Alabama shot putter who has only been wrestling for a handful of years, he has already captured the NXT Championship twice. He has already stood over Brock Lesnar on live television. And now he is standing in the wreckage of a contract signing that never happened, having just powerbombed a security guard in front of thousands of screaming fans who were chanting his name like he was already a legend. The Nigerian giant has not just arrived. He has kicked the door completely off its hinges. But here is the thing that nobody in the wrestling conversation seems to be addressing right now. When you take a young lion who is still learning who he is, who is still figuring out where his limits are, and you throw him into the deep end against the most dangerous and most experienced predator this business has ever produced, the outcome is genuinely unpredictable. You might witness the birth of a generational champion. Or you might watch something much darker take shape. And after what I saw in that backstage footage, after watching Omos powerbomb an innocent security guard with the kind of cold indifference that made the arena go quiet, I genuinely believe that Omos has crossed a psychological threshold that he may not be able to walk back across. The contract never got signed, but make no mistake about it, the war is absolutely official. Brock Lesnar and Omos are going to collide at WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, and after everything we witnessed on Raw and everything that happened in that backstage footage, I do not believe for a single second that either of these men is walking out of Allegiant Stadium the same way they walked in. The Beast is fighting to protect a legacy that spans 2 decades of total dominance. The Nigerian giant is fighting to seize a future that the entire wrestling world is now watching unfold in real time. And when these two forces of nature finally crash into each other on the grandest stage of them all, I have a feeling that the security guards are going to be the least of anyone's concerns. So I want to hear from you right now. Do you believe Omos is truly ready to go the distance and defeat Brock Lesnar on the biggest stage of his young career? Or is the Beast about to deliver a reminder to the entire world of exactly why he has been feared for over 20 years? And what does that powerbomb on the security guard tell you about where Omos's head is right now? Drop everything you are thinking in the comments section below, because I want this conversation going. And if you want to be right here with Wrestling Juice for every single development, every backstage detail, every twist and turn on the road to WrestleMania 42, not the headlines, not the recycled recaps, but the real story behind what is actually happening inside and outside of that ring, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and let's figure this out together. I will see you in the next one.